of the Graduate Certificate in Survey Science, which is an amazing program that was started many years ago at Odom. She worked at RTI for over 13 years, where her most recent role was a research survey scientist in the Public Health and Clinical Research Program. Jessica has over 20 years experience overseeing social science research projects for federal, state agencies, universities, private organizations, and foundations. And it is my great pleasure to introduce her, and she's going to introduce our speaker. This is just so much of a pleasure to have Odom here and represent us. So, Jessica.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for the opportunity to introduce this morning's keynote speaker. Nada Chaya is the program lead of the Arab Social Science Monitor at the Arab Council for the Social Sciences, where she is managing the organization's regional work on research data management within open science and on understanding the landscape of social science and humanities research and higher education in the region. Before joining the ACSS, she worked on global health in various positions at multilaterals and international organizations, where she focused on knowledge production to inform program planning and resource allocation in order to improve access to health products and services. This morning, Nada will talk about the experience of the Arab Public Data Initiative, through which the Arab Council for the Social Sciences and its partners are working to promote the culture and practices of research data management in the social science and humanities community in the Arab region. Welcome, Nada.
You hear me? Yeah, good. Thank you, Jessica. Good morning, everyone. It's a real pleasure to be here and to be part of this really dynamic community. I'm gonna talk for about half an hour and then leave some time for discussion at the end. The Arab Public Data Initiative, it's a regional initiative that was established in 2018. It covers all 22 countries in the that are members of the League of Arab States. I mean, its aim is to address the fact that social science data is not widely accessible in the region. Oftentimes, the Arab region is not represented in global surveys because of the lack of data. There is data that's being, social science data that is being produced in the region, like international organizations and private institutions. They produce data, but this data is not shared and as a public good. This initiative is part of the open science movement that aims to make scientific research freely available. So we are part of this global movement. The initiative aims to promote the norm and practices of social science research data preservation and sharing among social scientists and humanists and research institutions in the region. So I'm going to keep saying social sciences, but we cover social sciences and humanities. So why is it that ACSS is doing this kind of work? I mean, how does it integrate with our work? The ACSS is a regional independent nonprofit organization. We are based in Beirut. We cover the whole region. It is dedicated to strengthening social science research and knowledge production in the Arab region. Among the objectives of the ACSS is the provision of fora for exchange and communication among social scientists in the region, supporting networks among researchers and academicians, and supporting the dissemination of high-quality social science research. We have many programs through which we implement these. I'm not going to go over them. I'm going to just talk about a minute just what Jessica mentioned. It is the the Arab Social Science Monitor Program that houses the Arab Public Data Initiative. Through this program, what we do is we document and analyze the infrastructure of social science, knowledge production and dissemination, and higher education in the region. One small example to make it practical of what the ASSM does is we do reports on we have a big periodic report on specific topics, social science topics in the region. Another thing that we've done is we have developed a series of databases on institutions and social science products in the region. For instance, we have a database of all the universities in the region and which ones offer social science programs and which programs. We have another database on all the research institutions that work on social sciences, another one on periodicals. We have 7 of these, and all these are now nicely preserved in the ACSS Dataverse, of course, that I'm gonna talk about. The objectives of the initiative, we have 3 of them. It is the long-term preservation and facilitation of access to social science research data on the region. The second one is building capacity in managing social science research data among the various actors throughout the research lifecycle. And the third one is forging institutional partnerships in the regional and cross-regional engagements. We are 3 implementing partners: the Arab Council for the Social Sciences, the Odom Institute at the University of North Carolina. And here I want to note the instrumental role Charlie Kurzman have been really working on this since 2018. He's sitting in the corner. And in 2023, the Middle East Center at the University of Oxford joined the initiative. We have an advisory committee that sets the broad parameters and provides specific guidance when we reach out to them. It's composed of social scientists from the region. Now we have 4 in the advisory committee, and they have different disciplines and experience in quantitative and qualitative research. We have a demographer, economist, and sociologist, 2 economists. This advisory committee meets once a year, and the 3 implementing partners, of course, and the team takes part in that meeting. Okay, so for the first objective, to preserve for the long-term preservation of data, we are providing the data sharing infrastructure through the ACSS Dataverse that was launched in mid-2019. There were many months of preparation, of course, before the launch, and we worked closely with the Odom Institute on this. The ACSS Dataverse is available to both individual researchers and research institutions in the region. It is the first interdisciplinary open access social science research data repository in the region. The content is curated mostly by the ACSS with the help of the advisory committee and others under data deposit agreements that are available in Arabic, French, and English. Through these agreements, we collect the metadata and get the permission to deposit the data sets in the Dataverse. Throughout the data deposit process, the ACSS supports the depositors when needed. In return, we get support from the Dataverse community. My colleague Rami Afesh, he's the one who maintains the ACSS Dataverse, and he reaches out to the community oftentimes. We've worked closely with Mandy and Tomai and John Martin and Don Sizemore. I don't know if I missed anyone. Thank you very, very much. One important thing to mention is only anonymized data sets are included in the ACSS Dataverse. Until now, we have 189 data sets. Most of them are quantitative survey data. We have qualitative data sets like a transcript of focus group discussions. We have databases, including the 7 databases of the ACSS. And we have geographic data. And I want to spend a minute on the geographic data here. When the Middle East Center at the University of Oxford joined the initiative, it helped us broaden access to new forms of data. Under the initiative, they are creating shape files shape files of maps that are openly accessible from governmental and non-governmental sources. And these maps predate satellite imagery. So through these maps, they are recovering data like economic data, demographic data, etc., and putting them in the shapefiles. So far, we have 23 shapefiles in the IQSS Dataverse, and many more are in the pipeline. Through our work, many of the data sets that have been deposited in the Dataverse were lying on hard drives and USB drives. And now they are nicely preserved in the IQSS Dataverse. We would like to, there are valuable old data sets in the region that are not archived, and it's important that they be archived, but we are finding out that this kind of work is really time-consuming and needs a lot of follow-up. These are really valuable data sets. I'm sure this is also the case in many regions. The Dataverse has 8 sub-dataverses. I like this feature myself. I want to mention something that when we through our work with institutions on this, we want our work on data preservation to be like a model for other institutions and incentive for them to not only preserve the data set, but maybe to develop their own repositories. In 2 instances, one in Tunis, one in Morocco, after some of the trainings that I'm going to talk about that we did, the institutions got interested in developing their own repositories. So this is like, you know, I mean, we hope we are a model for other institutions to follow. The second, for the second objective, it's capacity building. The IQSS is conducting a series of training workshops across the region. These trainings are introducing the principles and best practices and tools of data management and sharing, open science, benefits of RDM to individual researchers, to the research enterprise as a whole, introducing the FAIR principles and the research data management plans. This is an example of what these workshops cover. These trainings bring together social science researchers and library and information scientists. As of late, these trainings are including an increasing number of library and information scientists, and this is intentional, given the important role they have in RDM and in supporting end users and
researchers. Our trainings now are offered fully in Arabic. The training material are in Arabic, and so are all the readings. Through our trainings, we are building a cadre of trainers. Some of our trainees have already facilitated or co-facilitated some of our training workshops. We want to have more of that, so there is a snowball effect in the region in terms of training. Until now, we have conducted 24 training workshops across the region. They included about 300 trainees, give and take. The participants come from public, private, and civil society institutions, universities, research centers, libraries, and a few instances we have like researchers from parliaments who have really participated in the training. So I mean, it is a diverse kind of participants. Initially, we started doing the trainings at the regional level. So we put out an open call, and then at region-wide, and we do the selection, and we did 6 of these. Now we are moving to having these trainings done in a more targeted way. So in a way to
to create like communities of practice within countries or institutions. So we did 8 of these. We did 2 training of trainers, and we are offering our trainings to ACSS fellows. And I'm gonna spend a minute talking about one program here. Now the RDM training is mandatory to the ACSS new generation fellows. This is one of the many programs of the ACSS. Through this program, the ACSS is partnering with public and private universities in 4 countries in the region. And the fellows, and we have different cohorts of fellows, and each cohort goes through 2 years of courses, of workshops, thematic, methodological. They go through networking activities, and also and publishing exercise, how to publish. What is unique about this is this program includes undergraduate as well as graduate students, and also include also non-social science students. So it's really trying to develop a pipeline of future researchers who are well trained and interested and dedicated to social sciences. We are also offering these trainings to ACS grantees. The ACSS provides research grants across the region. We have different cycles on different topics, and we also have postdoctoral fellowships. We have offered these trainings to a few cohorts of grantees. In 2024, we focused on specific tools. We worked with DataSite to do demonstrations to the ACSS community through webinars. They came to our conference. They were part of our training workshops to highlight the importance of open research infrastructure and the value of adopting various persistent identifiers and research workflows for more impactful outcomes. These demonstrations are practical, and you know, they went over the tools like the ORCID and the DOI and the ROR and etc. Also in 2024, we had demonstration by Oxford University on open character recognition of Arabic text. In the demonstration, they presented methods that are used in a current project. Then that was recovering textual data from old Arabic textual data from old newspapers, Haram newspaper. This webinar was very well attended, much engagement from the audience. Obviously, there's a lot of interest in it, and we plan to do a training on it late summer, early fall. For the third objective, the partnership and engagement, in 2020, I'm going to mention the major partnerships that we did. In 2022, we started a partnership with the Economic Research Forum. It's a regional organization based in Cairo. They work on economic research in the region. They have, we partnered with them to promote data preservation in the region, and also on trainings. They have an initiative called Open Access Microdata Initiative, through which they archive microdata that's created in the region. It's mostly created by statistical offices. The ERF works with the statistical offices, and we partnered with them to offer our training to 7 statistical offices in the region. The training was in 2023, I think. I mentioned our partnership with the DataSite on raising awareness about persistent identifiers. We are increasingly providing our trainings through institutional partnerships with universities and research centers in various countries in the region. For instance, we partnered with the American University in Ifran to conduct the training for 3 or 4 universities in the Atlas region in Morocco. I'm saying Atlas because it's the Atlas Mountain. Okay. And we partnered also the research center, same thing for the Rabat region, same thing with AUC for the Cairo region. Participants attending the workshops are encouraged to network with their institutions about research data management and data preservation, and to use the material that we have developed. Okay, in the 5 minutes that I have, I'm going to talk about contributions and challenges. So we are building expertise in RDM and data preservation. Through our work, we are raising awareness about it in the region, directly and indirectly. We have done dedicated webinars. The IQSS has a big every 2 years, we have a conference, which is a gathering of social scientists in the region, and we just concluded our 7th, like a few weeks ago. And in each, starting like the 5th conference, I forgot, we always have something dedicated on data preservation and RDM. We had a roundtable with UNESCO. This time we had DataSite come. So, I mean, we are doing it, raising awareness in different ways. We are expanding in our way social science and RDM into social science and humanities in the region. We are having a small contribution to multilingual RDM through our work in Arabic. And through all this, we are creating a network of people working in the region. And the IQSS has a good platform for that. So we are using it. Of course, challenges. There are challenges. There is low awareness about RDM in the region. I think like other regions, there is some formal work done on open access in general, but not much on open data and RDM. RDM is not part of the research ecosystem in the region. From what we are seeing, any work that's being done is driven mostly by individuals. I mean, I do not want to be categorical, but I mean, this is what we're seeing. Like you have people, researchers giving presentations to their institutions. Some professors are including preservation and RDM in their courses, keeping in mind that in most, maybe all, public universities in the region, the curriculum is standard, so there's not much that one can introduce in the curriculum. But also RDM is not formally included in private universities or their libraries. I mean, it's at least not in a formal way. I want to repeat the importance of preservation of data sets at risk of being lost, and that it takes a lot of effort to do this. We want to increase the number of data sets that are deposited in the IQSS Dataverse. Of course, the reasons why researchers do not and data owners do not deposit their data sets. I mean, the reasons are multi-layered, including trust and concern that someone is gonna take credit for their work. I want to point to one maybe very practical bottleneck that we are seeing is like there is a bottleneck when it comes to preparing the data sets and the documentation related to it. And probably this is because of what data depositors perceive as low return for an effort that they have to make to deposit their data sets. This is a data set that my colleague Rami Fish and myself, we just are, there's a pattern. This is it. So to recap, there is lack of access of social science research data in the region. That's why we're doing all this work. Also because of being part of the open science movement. It is important. This is important work to develop repositories and the importance of open data. for data reproducibility and enabling evidence-based analysis. The initiative is filling a gap in data preservation and sharing in the region. And its work, opens up opportunities for collaborations to expand this work. There is, as I mentioned, ACSS has the potential to become a regional resource on all this work. I'm going to stop, and it would be good to hear about similar experiences and challenges, success stories in countries and other regions in the regions on this. Thank you. Any questions, comments? Charlie.
Now, it's been a pleasure to work with you over these years. I'm Charlie Bergman, UNC Chapel Hill. And one thing that you didn't mention, but I think is worth highlighting, is the outreach to other world regions and the underrepresentation in general of the Global South in the data management and open data movement.
Sure.
And those connections, and I remember
Absolutely.
in America in particular, that the ACSS is working with, and I believe there's some others as well in West Africa. What do you see as the vision for moving forward to have further South-South dialogues that would help to promote these norms and practices and make these capabilities available more widely?
Yeah. I mean, as I mentioned, the ACSS is well positioned for these creating these collaborations and cross-regional collaborations and learning from other regions. We have a lot of programs, and I can't think of a specific way to do it. But there are institutions in Latin America and East Africa that maybe we could collaborate with. And any pointers on this from this group, from the Odum Institute, would be welcome to do this, to really expand the work on the importance of long-term representation and the practical issues around it. Okay, looks like it was very clear. Yeah. Yeah.
No, I wanted to ask about the complexity of and the potential problem of dealing with right-to-left languages in interfaces and platforms like this. And as a lot of people in this room know, we had a funded project to put a multi-level interface in front of the CSS Dataverse, which was recently terminated by the dissolution of IQSS earlier in the year. And so I wanted you to talk about what having more capacity for right-to-left languages in environments like this would afford the CSS Dataverse and other regional repositories that might potentially benefit from that kind of thing.
Can you repeat, please, the last question? The last sentence.
Could you talk a bit about what having better language capacity in interfaces like Dataverse would afford for repositories? How would it make it more accessible for users and repositories?
Absolutely. Like in I mean, just to give an example, we started doing our trainings. It's not like the platform, but the importance of doing it in Arabic, maybe including the platforms. We started doing our trainings in English. And then we had them translated, and now we're doing that in Arabic. And the interaction in the room I mean, really, it is like night and day when you're doing it in Arabic or in French. We haven't done it in French, but in French for the North African countries. So this is very important, and in terms of the platforms, it would be great if that is. If that is done, the Dataverse, now our most of our data sets and have to, the data deposit forms, I mean, they are in English. But again, it will facilitate things if we do them in Arabic, or part of it in Arabic. It would improve, definitely it would improve the accessibility to them, definitely.
Good morning, thanks so much. Hi. I'm Amy June. I work with local contexts and Indigenous communities around the world. Thank you for your presentation. I've learned a lot. My background is a little bit more sort of in the social sciences than the information and data sciences. And this isn't a Dataverse specific question, but I'm curious if, for example, I've worked with some social science practitioners based in Palestine who are quite reticent right now to actually post any open data. For those unique sort of situational challenges where open science might put people at risk, is this council sort of working in parameters for sort of data security or closed data? Yeah, if you could speak to that a bit.
Yeah, we have not. We have not worked specifically on this. I mean, given, but I mean, this is very important. You raise a very important issue about this, and you bring up a very important question about the importance of data preservation, and also the how to handle it in situations of instability and war. So we have not worked on it, but it's an important thing to work on. I don't know, Charlie, if you want to add anything on it. Yes, yes. And you know, I mean, it's we were following up with some institutions in Palestine before the war, and then during the war we stopped following up because I mean I think it was not the right thing to do. So, but this is, yes, I mean, this is an important thing to work on. And as Charlie said, in terms of open, we talk about open data. There's the preservation and open. So we have one data set in the, or maybe more in the Dataverse that's closed, and you know, whoever wants to access it, so there's an embargo, not an embargo on it, it's closed, but it's available only per permission. So I mean, thanks for this functionality in the IQSS Dataverse. This is very important. So and this, I think this sort of answers your question in a practical way.
So there's different ways to set it up, and this is thanks to all the programmers and developers who made the database so flexible that you can set it so that it will have a window where you, after 5 years or 10 years, it will become open. I think it's now automatic. Is that right? Or do you have to do an embargo? You do an embargo. You don't have to flip the switch after that certain number of years. It should know the calendar at that point and switch it up. But there's also these cases where we've decided to keep it, to offer the option of keeping it private, where the metadata will be there. If you want to access it, you don't just click and download it, you click it and you make a request, and the data owners can approve. Now I think that's, in general, that's preferable, and what happens in a generation, the data owners all around and so on. But yes, there may be situations that you mentioned. Also, just want to put a plug, if you're interested in Palestinian attitudes, the PCPSR, which is the central major survey outfit in Palestine, Palestinian Center for Social and Political Research, all of their past hundreds of surveys are at the IQSS Dataverse. And I think it's not updated because they've had bigger problems over the last year and a half now. But going back to the 1990s.
Thank you. And can you speak a little bit to how groups like the Dataverse community can help enable long-term sustainability for repositories and regions that are generally underrepresented and host Atlas data like IQSS?
So for the long-term sustainability, like what the Dataverse community, the Dataverse community has been very, very helpful. We can, I mean, I can't think of anything. You want to make the big ask? Okay.
Sorry to keep popping in, but we've been working together so closely in this for years. And I think this is the invitation for us to make a big ask of the Dataverse community. And there's several that we've been working for a number of years. First, to say how grateful we are for the folks at the Levin Institute and the RDMC here at UNC Chapel Hill for helping to make this at all possible. So the back end of the IQSS Dataverse is housed right here at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, and the Levin Institute has kindly agreed to maintain that. But there are costs involved, and so we talk about long-term sustainability. The expertise, the technical expertise that so many of you in this room represent, that is not distributed equally around the world. And if each of your institutions could make some sliver of your server space and your headspace available for people's out, and to make that known, perhaps to have a partner somewhere that wouldn't be able to generate a Dataverse and sustain it on their own, if that could be part of your practice, I think that would have a multiplying effect. And not to just wait for necessarily invitations to do it, but to seek out partners in the global south. I think that would make a huge difference. Related to that, this right to left script enabling for the interface and to have the whole Dataverse be allowed to use right to left scripts is part of the globalization we'd like to see for everything we see on the internet, so that people whose native languages and most comfortable languages use those scripts, which is a huge proportion of the world, that those folks can navigate the internet and access data and like that without having to go through a left to right script. So that I think is still a priority for folks in the Arab region, as well as in Pakistan and so many places that use right to left scripts. So those are two big asks, and thank you for offering this opportunity.
That's it.
Thank you so much, Nada, and let's give her another hand.
Thank you.
We'll switch over to the roundtable discussion on sustainability. Let's just give us like 5 minutes for time. Yes.